Look at you, how far you've come, my friend. We have a new moon portal that is widely open right now, and I want to remind you a few things that you shouldn't ignore today. But firstly, just to acknowledge where you've come until now, in your whole lifetime. How much your actions and behaviors have been influenced by the way you've been raised, by your parents, by your caregivers. But also how much your actions and behaviors have been influenced by your upgrade in knowledge, in understanding, in awareness, in consciousness. So you've done the changes that maybe some of people around you may perceive as results of luck. That's how sometimes people say when we experience something good. But deep inside, you know that it's the byproduct of your understanding of what you have to do, because deep inside there's a calling, there's a sense of a need to do something that will be good for you. So deep inside we have this sense of goodness and something that is not so good for us. And of course what's good and bad is a topic of discussion, but we all have our own discernment to recognize what's good for us. And this sense is really loud right now, that it's kind of a byproduct of Virgo's energy, Virgo's constellation, that is reminding us of what is good for us, for myself. Because it's just a natural law. When we start taking care of ourselves, we start vibrating on more pure and coherent energy, and naturally we start vibrating an energy that is also helpful for people around us. So when we focus on what's good for us, we naturally do what's good for others as well. If nothing else, we just vibrate in greater peace, in greater clarity, in greater coherence, in greater tranquility, and that is something really beautiful. So no one has pushed you to change but yourself, right? There has always been a part of you that believed in the possibility of who you can become, and therefore you decided to embrace it. That's something we've been talking yesterday, but I want to expand this conversation. I have 6 important reminders for today, for what you may experience today, what you may sense today, because most probably you've noticed there are people who are channeling energy from higher worlds, and then there are people who are organizing the energy in this lower world so we can create a higher order out of maybe chaos of information. And usually I'm one of those who is kind of making an order out of the chaotic field of information that is present around us. So we can organize it in a way that information can work in our favor, not in the way that we feel like we are being controlled and punished by too much of everything. So I want to remind you that you have this capability of making an order out of disorder. This was always a function of alchemists. They were always trying to create a greater harmony in what they've been experiencing. Rather, it can be in emotional sensations, it can be in beliefs and thought patterns, or it can be in environment and external world. Like if you want to change something, just create a greater coherence in your life, like do more of what you love to do, and even when you have something you don't like to do, bring more love to it, and it will become more beautiful. And that was the function of people who learned to create a higher order in their lives. And Virgo's energy is all about this. It's detailed oriented, so we can recognize what is out of coherence, what is out of alignment, and we can change it for something better. That's where we start changing the patterns, right? We recognize, oh, I'm doing something that is not so good for me, and it is not a natural desire. Natural desires never include something that is not good for us. We have all kinds of senses that can allow us to feel things, but when we are out of our control, we may do something or too much of something that gives us a sensation of feeling good until it's too much of it, and we feel overwhelmed. That's why the sense of balance, something I've mentioned to you also yesterday, is so important to recognize. When we fall out of balance in a certain area of our lives, how I experience this is I experience like a sense of pressure, like a sense of irritation within my body when I go out of balance in certain area. Like if I start working too much, let's say I have a work to do, but a part of me at some point starts calling me to go outside, to connect with nature, and I will be still doing that thing because I have a goal to finish it. A part of me will become irritated, and that's how I know, okay, I'm going out, I'm pulling myself out of balance. I need nature, I need to ground myself. And if I follow that calling and I go outside, usually I experience a wonderful realization that can actually help me to improve my work. This is the power of listening to your own inner senses, and that is something really important. So to become good at listening to your own inner senses, you have to listen more to your own inner senses that may tell you what you need, what food you need, what relationships you need or actually don't need. Often it may be the case that we just are surrounded with people that are not supporting our growth and expansion, and sometimes we just need to separate ourselves from them. Right now we are focusing more on these earthly projects, right? As the energy of Virgo is this earthly grounded energy. So it is more than anything focused on what helps us to be grounded and to organize our lives while being grounded, to organize our knowledge in the way that can actually influence or promote growth and transformation, to organize our habits the way that we apply the knowledge and keep applying the knowledge and staying consistent with applying the knowledge so we can become the product of a higher knowledge, of a knowledge that actually supports becoming who we are intending to become, even though most probably we will not become who we are envisioning to be, because we'll become much greater than that vision, because the vision for who we are intending to become is limited by our understanding and knowledge, but through the process the knowledge is expanding, and therefore the awareness around who we can actually be is expanding as well. Therefore, we always become much greater than we thought that is possible for us to be. And that is a beauty of transformation. And Virgo is reminding you that don't limit yourself so much with your present knowledge, but actually open up for what is finding you and focus on the details of what you have to apply so you can become who you're intending to be. Because the magic is always in details, like recognizing, what am I missing right now? What am I missing right at this point? And, noticing, okay, maybe at this time, all I need is just to be a bit slower because I was running so fast through my life. And I'm not able to see details of my life because I'm running too fast. So I have to slow myself down a little bit and notice what good took place that I haven't appreciated until now. And if I start appreciating all the good that happened, it may remind me of my own capabilities and potentials that are actually growing in those areas. Like if I would be focusing on just the next content and the next content and the next content, I might miss the growth that happened every time I've made a content for you, right? And the growth is what makes my life special, because I notice, well, every single day I'm learning something new, but if I'm constantly focused on the next thing, I will miss what's happening in the now. So the now is showing us who we are, and the future can be or can serve us as the canvas to create something out of who we are today. But we shouldn't be so focused on the future that we miss who we are in the present moment. And Virgo is this grounding reminder to appreciate how far you've come until now, because it's deeply enthusiastic about growth, and sometimes Virgos may forget about appreciating what already happened. It's not just for Virgos. Right now it's for all other signs. It's just the energy of the Virgo. So Aristotle said something really interesting when he said that moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts. Temperate by doing temperate acts, brave by doing brave acts. He reminded us that we become what we are practicing to be. So we just have to look within and ask ourselves how much we are practicing who we actually want to be. Just this simple question. And then looking also within the perfection of it. Are we trying to be perfect while there is no perfection anyway? So we are constantly trying to be something that is impossible to attain. Because perfection is something that may look possible in the present moment, but once we become what was once just as an idea of perfection, we will always see a possibility of being more. So perfection is never achieved, but it can only be seen as an inspiration to become something else, to aim towards something. So we have to embrace this idea of imperfection while perfecting ourselves. While you're a perfectionist, your inner perfectionist tendencies can be a strength. Remember that you will never be strong enough to say that you are strong enough. But at the same time, you are strong enough to say that you are strong. So it's like a mental game to notice how much is enough so you can love yourself, right? How much of acknowledgement is enough so you can love yourself. And the purest reminder is that for love, everything is enough. But love always seeks more, not because you are not enough, but because you know that you deserve it. So it all brings us to the inner path of moderation, and it may sound complex to you. But what is truly happening is an awareness that you are this beautiful diamond that are constantly shaping yourself into a creation of your dreams. And your dreams may come from external influences, but are always driven by internal fire. So external influences may be guiding you to a certain degree until you recognize that your inner fire is much more important than whatever external, and that's where you turn inwardly and ask yourself, what are my own inspirations? Who am I? Who I really want to become, what kind of life I really want to live, what kind of relationships I really want to make, what kind of results I want to achieve, what kind of emotions I want to master, what kind of skills I want to build and acquire, what kind of knowledge I want to attain, what kind of wisdom I want to embody, and what kind of blissfulness this life can offer to me if I become more blissful. Those are powerful questions that, again, ground us and reminds us that there is a possibility to experience something else we are experiencing today, which again pulls us out of this matrix system that is designed in continuation of programmed lifestyle that has nothing new but a consistency of repetition. And of course, repetition is important, as Aristotle reminded us that a brave man becomes by brave acts, and you acquire wisdom by constantly learning from it and applying it. That's what makes you wise. So repetition is important, but at the same time we have to be open to spontaneity, to be spontaneous but again to the right degree, so we don't become stagnant because we're waiting a new inspiration. And moderation is always a middle point that is the biggest challenge for Virgos. And Virgo's energy has within this greatest challenge that is moderation. How much of something is enough of it, right? So I want to bring you this message of today, how to organize your life in a way that your life can work for you. And the magic truly is in doing enough of everything. Doing enough of everything. And there's again a natural mechanism. When we do less of what is bad for us, we will naturally feel drawn to do more of what is good for us. This is a common sense that is not so common in society. And when I've noticed that if I decide to do less of what's bad for me, I will naturally have more time and energy and focus and attention and inspiration to do what's good. Like, for example, I would not need to do daily videos for you, my friends. I would not need to do that. I'm completely okay if I'm not doing it. So I could easily do something easier. Like, I could go outside, I could travel the world, and I could just, be wherever I would like to be. But I have this sense of service, and this is my responsibility. I see you as a community. I see you as a family of human beings. Some of you maybe need to hear what I have to say. Some of you are where I used to be. Some of you are where I am right now and just need some confirmation, maybe for what you feel that is happening to you. And when somebody else says something similar, you say, oh yeah, that's real, right? And because I feel that, I have this sense of responsibility to do the work, to share a message with you. And you all know that to share a message, you have to organize thoughts. And to organize thoughts, it's not something that everyone can do. You have to have a degree of an ability to think clearly, to think deeply, but clearly. And that is not an easy act if we are constantly distracting ourselves. So we have to decide to do that. And when I've recognized that this is my nature to help others, all I needed to find out was to do less of what is not good for me, so I can naturally do more of this, what is for me a sense of service. And firstly, I want to say thank you to you, because you're giving me an opportunity to be of service for you. So thank you, my friends, for being there. And this is kind of example of what happens when we start doing less of what is bad for us. And each of you needs to have this own sense of discernment, like what is bad for me? What is not? I mean, good and bad, those are just, it's a perception. But deep inside, we know what is not resonating with us, what is not helping us, what is not allowing us to go a bit higher. And slowly we ditch it. And as we ditch it, we soon recognize, oh, I have more energy, I have more time, I have more clarity in my mind, but it's still not enough. Then we have to know what to do with that. And that's where it comes a sense of an ability to organize yourself. This is again the Virgo's important topic. How to organize yourself when you have more time. If you've experienced in your life an opportunity where you had a job and you quitted it, or you've lost that job, suddenly you've experienced a phase in your life where you had much more time because you've been used to living under the rules of others, you suddenly had no idea what to do with yourself in that free time. That's what usually happens when you start letting go of old habits, and that's why people easily fall back into old habits, because they don't design new ones. So as much as we recognize what is not good for us, we also have to recognize what is good for us, what gives us a sense of service, what gives us a sense of righteousness, a sense of passion, a sense of joy, a sense of honesty, a sense of integrity, a sense of kindness. and what feels ethical. So we can become the embodiment of what our souls wants us to be. Because deep inside we feel talented at something, or we feel like good at something. We feel like something gives us a sense of flow, and flow is a sign that this is what you have to do. This is what feels natural for you. Like when I'm painting, I go into flow state. When I'm making those videos, I go into flow state. If I would be doing the math, or I would be a scientist in the field of something that doesn't resonate with me, I would not easily get into flow state. If I would be building web pages, I would not be in the flow state, because I don't like to do that. So we have to recognize what is good for us, what puts us into the flow state, and then eventually we start doing more of it by letting go of what is not allowing us to do it. But again, when it comes to Virgo's energy, it comes to experiencing fast results. So another reminder I want to give you is to be patient. Usually those changes shouldn't be visible on the outside world, because they should be done so slowly that you may not change in a fast pace. When changes are applied in slow pace, we can acknowledge them, we can ground them, and we can look at them with a greater sense of clarity, like what to do with all the changes that happened. But when changes happen really fast, usually we also fall back into the old selves really fast, because we don't know how to ground that new knowledge and new experiences and wisdom that we've gained. Usually we don't even recognize the wisdom that we've gained. So all changes should happen in a slow pace. And that's why most of the time manifestation, especially the first manifestations when you start working with energies, doesn't happen really fast, because life is teaching you to be patient with the changes. Only those who are patient with the changes can master themselves. So if nothing is happening in your life, I want to remind you that it's completely okay, because it will start happening. The only question is, will you quit before you experience the results? If you will not quit, you will experience the results, and they will reassure you that you are powerful. And once you will meet the first results, you will start believing more into yourself. So I just want to remind you to keep working until you see the results, because they will remind you of your own power, and it will be much easier then to believe into yourself for the next results, whatever you're working on, for relationships, for personal growth, for finances, for health, for anything you decide. It is all in your power to change. Keep raising your knowledge, keep learning, keep embracing the imperfection, keep taking care of your health, keep balancing and being organized, but at the same time keep being spontaneous, but never allow yourself to be so spontaneous that you become stagnant because you're waiting for something to happen. Sometimes you have to push yourself. Sometimes you even have to force yourself, because your automatic habits and behaviors may sometimes pull you back into the state of stagnation, and that's where you have to force yourself to do something differently. And when you will do it, you will feel that you've done a good work. And sometimes you will feel like you haven't done a good work, and it's again a lesson for you that you have to know at this point, so you can find a deeper state of moderation. And I think that moderation is the greatest art of living, that is the hardest to attain, but brings us the most wisdom that life can offer, because it helps us to protect our energy from wasting it for unnecessary things. So my friends, I hope you found something valuable today. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings and power. Enjoy today's new moon. It's a beginning of a new cycle. So set some intentions, be intentional, my friends. Meditate a little bit how we want to evolve in this new cycle. And Thanks to everyone for supporting my art in our Etsy store, I Draw My Passion. The link is in the description of this video. Thank you so much. With that, you're supporting this mission. We are also running a fresh sale, so go there and check it out. And till next time, one love.